So welcome back to our series of interviews on Russian philosopher Aleksandr Dugin. What kind of philosopher is he? What kind of ideology does he have? Let's focus on that today.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Gabel. Honestly, I cannot myself categorize him as a philosopher. Otherwise, we have to redefine the philosophy, or we have to move the extensions of the philosophy.
So what is he then, if he's not a philosopher?
Well, I think that he has set up some justifications and ideas to justify the violence and expansionism for his main theory in geopolitics. Totally, we can see and analyze the Dugin's works in three main fields or three main axes. The first one is, of course, philosophy. The second one is geopolitics, and the third one is religion. But later we will see that all of them are just three different faces of one fact, and all of them is going to be at the service of the Russian expansionism. But I will explain why and how he is going. Beginning from the philosophy. His main work in philosophy is a fourth theory. Maybe you have heard, and this book is I think published in 2013, I think, or 14. And in this book, he first criticizes three other theories or a school of thoughts. The first is communism, and then fascism, and then liberalism. And then he suggested his own fourth theory. But you have to note that categorizing liberalism aside with communism and fascism is not accidental. He has an intention to deliver you some thinking that they are at the same category. He categorizes the liberalism, including the democracy, together with the fascism and communism. But actually, what he presents by himself in his fourth theory is a combination of communism and fascism. But he is considered by some people as a philosopher because he has used and he has he get influence from the very famous other philosophers, which I'm explain about them. The most of them, and the most famous of them, is Heidegger and Carl Schmitt. And I think Julius Evola. Julius Evola was a philosopher or thinker in Italy who was in favor of the fascism. Carl Schmitt also, he was agree with he was against the democracy, and he was against the liberalism values. But most important of them is Heidegger. And if you know, the Heidegger is very famous philosophy, and he has very famous concepts in philosophy. His influence in philosophy is undeniable. He has, for the first time, I think, in Western philosophy, formulated the existence as an abstracted fact. Just here, I have to explain that in philosophy, you have to, as a philosopher, you have to be able to expose some ideas totally abstracted from time and place for conditions. And the Dugin's work is not so. The Dugins have formulated some ideas depending on the Russian situation today. It means that he cannot present and philosophy and a philosophical idea, but he has used some elements of the other philosophy. For example, from the Heidegger, Heidegger has a very famous idea or concept, maybe you have heard, for the German languages is very very easy to understand, design. And design, it's difficult to translate, but we can translate it as being there. And it means that the existence by self is total abstracted, but when it finds an situation to manifest, then is a design. For example, the human being is a manifestation of existence, but the human being is not the existence. Existence is an abstracted concept. But when a human being has its some from the existence, then he has own specifications, which is not the same as the others. And it means that he uses, actually the Heidegger uses this concept against the domination of the society, of the Western society, and says that when you are under pressure of the aggression of the society or the pressure of the society, you have to go back to your internal values, because you have a very unique and exclusive values that should not be aggressed by the society. Actually, I have to more explain about the Heidegger's thinking, but I will give you the reasons in the next part of geopolitics. But then, if you know, the Germany was a little bit behind in comparing with the other European countries in colonialism, and really the colonialism of the other European countries, especially Spain, Portugal, France, and United Britain, yes, their policies in colonialism was in conflict with the roots and cultures of the people of the colonial country, of the, I mean, the targeted countries, the targeted societies. And Heidegger may be driven from this concept, reasons that these societies should show resistance about the pressure of the colonialism, and to getting back to his own essence and their existence. Dugin also uses this concept of Heidegger, and see that each society has own specification, and they have to resist against the domination or trying to domination of the West and precisely United States. The other concept that the Dugin used from the Heidegger is confrontation with the modernity, because if you know, Mr. Heidegger had another famous concept. This concept was presented during the 50s from 20th century, and in German is Gestell, and Gestell, you know, that is a past participle of stellen, and it means set up some things. And by Gestell, he means a framework in which the human being is formulated together with the technology, and in place that the technology be at service of the human is at the service of the technology. And this is the future root of the modernism. And I have to point out that also the other thinkers then, they thought like Heidegger. For example, if you know Herbert Marcuse, he has very famous book, The One-Dimension Man. He was against Heidegger, his thinking, and he was in United States, and he was in the favor of democracy and Western civilization. But also he says that the modernity is dangerous, and the modernity made us an one-dimension beings. So in this sense, also the Mr. Dugin is against modernity, and even he names the modernity as devil, as the devil of today, or as the antichrist of the today, which I explained in the field of religion of the Mr. Dugin. And he used the concept which Mr. Heidegger used in his philosophy. Another concept that he used from Heidegger is the last days, the thing of the last days, that we are in the last days, because Mr. Heidegger then thought that the philosophy goes to be end, and when philosophy goes to be end, the technology will substitute the philosophy and will decide for the future of the humanity. And the decline of the philosophy is decline of the thinking, and the human is characterized by his thinking. If the thinking is declined, also the humanity will be declined. That's why we are in the last days, and maybe we are also and we have to expect an new other civilization, and this expectation will be involved with a great war, maybe. Later, you know that this idea was formulated by the Samuel Huntington, by the clash of civilization, and these concepts is very professional and genuinely applied by the Dugin to make his fourth theory. And fourth theory actually is an kind of collectivism, or better to say totalitarianism, but in Russian version. Of course, it is too much to say about that, but just I gave you some brief about the Dugin's philosophy.
Yes, we will enter even more into the depth in our next interview, because I can see some ideas of Heidegger in Ahmad Fardid's
Yes.
teachings as well. And we shouldn't focus on Ahmad Fardid now, but we will get back to it. So, but
Yes.
now you said there are three aspects: philosophy, geopolitics, and religious field.
Yes.
Before we go to the geopolitics, just tell us, please, what are the intentions of Dugin doing that, using Heidegger's ideas, not really in a philosophical manner, but rather in a political concept?
Actually, the Dugin's works tries to make a political concept for the people who are not deep in philosophy and who are not deep in politics in a scientific aspect.
Okay.
Because sorry, just I make it short. The people like Mr. Levy, who are deep in philosophy, they can unveil the ingenuity of the Dugin's works and thinking. But the people who usual politician who maybe pass few units of philosophy in their courses, then they cannot understand deeply what and persist the politicians who have and who had frustrating experiences in relation with the West. They can also be attracted by the philosophy and the thoughts of the Dugin.
I see very clearly. So now let's get into the geopolitical field of Mr. Dugin. What can you tell us about his ideas there?
Well, Mr. Dugin has written a book in 1997, the foundation of geopolitics and geopolitics of Russia. In this book, he has formulated his neo-Eurasianism theory. The concept is that, as Mr. Putin said, and I have quoted for you, that the world without Russia is impossible. He said that the Russia at this time is not in his deserved position, he explains that how, and then Mr. Dugin tried to explain that the Russia has biggest identity and biggest contribution to the civilization, and in his idea, the heartland of the world is Eurasia, and Russia is the heartland of the Eurasia. And he introduces some techniques and methods. First of all, I have to just little explain about two classic and important concepts of geopolitics. You know that in one sense, we can divide the countries in two forms. One of them is continental countries. They have no access to the sea, or they have access, but the sea, I mean the water, has no is not important in their politics, like Russia by itself, or for example Germany. But there are countries that their existence depends on sea. For example, United Kingdom or United States or Australia, New Zealand, they are considered as the sea powers, and even the Netherlands. These countries we named it are in geopolitics are named as the sea powers and against the continental powers, the continental countries. And the sea powers, if we consider, they are rooted differences between them. For example, the politics and law and legal system are different. For example, in Anglo-Saxon countries, we have the Anglo-Saxon law and common law, and is totally different from the continental law like Germany and France. Usually in sea powers, the politics and legal system, I don't dare to use more humanitarian, but surely more soft and more tolerated. In the countries like Russia or Germany or even in China, in Iran, because the geopolitical circumstances are tough, usually the rules usually are less tolerance in the rules, and they makes also big differences in other thinking and other political and decision and decision making and policy making. If you see in the at the sea of the, I will try to share some map if I have. Let me check if I can or not. Then I will share you. Yes, no, I can share you. Shall I do it?
Yes, please explain along the map. It will be more understandable.
Map.
Yes, now I can see the map. If
okay,
you put
so
that window away.
I'm trying to. This map is made by the this guide from the Dugin's work.
Okay.
So just I explained that here is the Russia. You see that?
Yes, the red color.
I will explain. You see that the Russia here has access to the sea, but here is this the frozen sea.
Yes.
Here is under control of the sea powers. You know that here.
Yes.
Here is under control of Ukraine and Turkey, and here is under control of this between and a strait between Sweden and Denmark. So Russia here is surrounded and has no free access to the sea.
Yes.
this was for the same for the German, and I said to you that the German then, and he was one of the theory of the Nazis, that we need a space to breathe. If you remember, if you
Yes.
yeah, this is the same for the Russia, and now in Eurasia and Neo-Eurasia we have some new things. First of all, I'm going to explain about this part. You see that in the green part is Iranian Empire or Empire of Persian is a Russian ally. So in Eurasia will be the heartland of the world, the only empire and the only power of the world. So now at this time, the Mr. Dugin talks about the multipolarity, multipolar an order of the world, but in his own idea, the world should be unipolar, as you see. So the heartland will be Eurasia, but some empires or some countries may continue in if they are an allied with Russia, and also it will not be forever. This is contemporary, maybe for the 50 years or 20 years or maximum 100 years, but eventually they have to be dissolved in the Russia. But during the transition period, the Japan Empire, the Iran Empire, and the German Empire, France allied German Empire, they have to have the task of protecting of the Eurasia. When the other countries, like you see that here, for example, China should be in turmoil. See you divided and in turmoil. Turkey is in turmoil. Europe should be in turmoil, and Europe should be under control of the Germany and France. But they should be also under control of Russia. And if I will try to show here if possible, but it's not possible here. But if you see here, there is no trace of the Israel. Can you see here the Israel?
Yes, it is visible, definitely.
And Turkey is also in turmoil because Turkey. Why? Because Turkey has another side of the Black Sea, and the Russia has an unchallengeable access to the free seas. That's why Turkey should be also in turmoil, but Turkey should not be under control of Iran. It's very important. The Dugin describes that the Iran should bring all the Islamic countries and regions under control to be eligible to be allied with Russia. And now we can, because you asked me that why you think that Dugin is very serious and why you take it very serious, because I saw that policy in Iran was to bring the whole Middle East, Arab and Islam Middle East under control, to be ally on Russia. And now till I see the Iran is going to maybe to begin a war, and apocalyptic war, but as a proxy of Russia. Maybe Russia tries to first send his proxies, Iran, to this apocalyptic war. I think that by this map we can have a good understanding of geopolitical think of Mr. Dugin. In this map, we can see that everything is just Russia, and the other countries, or they are allied with Russia, for example, India, Vietnam, or they are not, or they have to be disappear. Japan and Germany may be maybe act as an allied for Russia, but they have to protect Russia. If they do their protection job, they may exist and they may continue to be exist. Otherwise, they go to turmoil like the other countries. You see that United States is here in total is divided and in turmoil. The Europe also.
Yes.
There are people believe that the Brexit was a plan of Dugin, which was predicted and was foreseen in the book of the Mr. Dugin. And so I'm not going more in details, because in this map you can understand the whole content of the book of the Mr. Dugin in this clearly in this map.
Wonderful. So let me propose we focused on Dugin as a philosopher who is a hidden political conceptualist ideologue, and on Putin, on Dugin's geopolitical vision. In our next interview, let's focus on his view from the religious point of view. And for now, let's end this interview for reasons of time. Thank you.
Yes, just I have to point point out one thing that's important, that Mr. Dugin released his book, this book in 1997, sorry, and then he has released another updated in 2012, and then his political book, I mean that fourth theory in 2014. It means that the philosophical ideas that he released was actually a justification for his geopolitical expansionism, and he's trying to in this book he's trying to remove and to disappear the identity of the other countries or the other victim countries, and just to impose the Russian identity, or the identity he is trying to define as an Eurasianism to other countries. Like you have heard from him that Ukraine has no identity beside the Russia.
Okay, let's continue in our next interview.
Yes.
We will just have a little retrospective on what you just said, and then we will focus on religious matters.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.